When they see that, it's a contagious experience. Like, they're helping each other, they're going to help me out. All right, friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. Today we are talking about service versus hospitality. How do you provide that 5-star experience? Closing thought of the episode, one of the best questions I will ask you at the end of an episode. Please listen to this. Send me your thoughts on the question. This is the Ultimate OD podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. If you didn't get a chance, listen to last week's episode. I know it was a holiday weekend, but we did have some good information that we're building on today. Last week, we talked about your brand, your identity. Today, we're talking about service, customer service versus hospitality, and the things that you can do to create a better experience for your patients. Experience matters. Right? What do you talk about? You talk about the experiences that were awful or exceeded your expectations. If you go to the dentist, you get your teeth cleaned, they give you a toothbrush and set you up for 6 months down the road, uneventful. You go to the dentist and the guy next door is just yelling the entire time because he didn't get the right kind of Novocaine or he's afraid of what's going on. You're going to go and tell everyone about that experience. Like, it's not great, but it's memorable, right? You go to the dentist and I don't know what happens, but the dentist takes the time. He asks you about, like, literally what kind of toothpaste you're using, why you picked that brand. He gave you 3 options of toothpaste that were similar price to what you were using, but better based on the enameling mineral deposits it can do. I don't know, but that's something that would be memorable to me, right? Experience matters. Make sure that when a patient comes into your office, when they interact with you and your staff, they're getting an experience. Service is a task. Hospitality is the experience. Now, one of the keys to providing a great experience for a patient is confidence. Yes, you have to believe in what you are doing, what you are selling. That starts with training. If your staff isn't giving you a great experience, it's because they might and most likely do not know what you expect of them, what they're supposed to do. When's the last time you talked to your staff about what's supposed to happen when they come into the office and get greeted from the front desk? Are they supposed to stand? Are they supposed to ask them their date of birth? What are they supposed to do? When they go through the exam and they do a workup, are there certain questions that are supposed to be asked? Are there certain things that you want your staff to mention or hit on? If they get a certain score on their speed, does that automatically mean they're doing another test? I don't know. If you haven't thought it through, your staff most likely hasn't either. These are things that matter in the whole scheme of the patient experience. Okay? One of the things that I've really been working on with my staff is you have to be helping 2 to 3 patients at a time. Now, what does this mean? If a patient's in front of you, you're working with that patient. If you're an optical and you're the optician and you've helped the patient out a little bit and they want to just look at some glasses, you are helping another patient by getting the chart ready for the patients tomorrow, right? That chart prep will make the patient that's coming in tomorrow have a better experience. I want them to know that helping a patient doesn't have to be one-on-one, face-to-face. It can happen in everything that we do that leads up to them coming into our office and getting an eye exam, right? The little things matter. If you don't emphasize this, if you don't bring this to your staff's attention, they don't think that little thing is as important as it probably is. Also, when you're attaching a name to what they're doing, they're more likely to give a little better effort. If they're just getting a chart ready for tomorrow, sure. If they're getting a chart ready for Ashley tomorrow, that sometimes makes them want to give a little extra effort because they know Ashley, or they're going to be working with Ashley tomorrow. They want to make sure they can give the best experience, so they know they have to have this prepped. Take that example and apply it to anything that's happening with a patient. When they come to get their glasses, are you leaving little notes? Are you following up on that conversation that you had with them about myopia management or about the vacation they were about to take? How was that? Did you have a good time? Did you get a chance to do this? You'll have to give me that recipe, Mrs. Jones. I'd love to have a pumpkin pie. I don't know. But make sure that you are doing the little things and make sure that your staff knows how that affects the patient experience. Okay? So let's go over some things that I think matter in the experience. Number one, first impressions. This is your signage, your website, how you answer a phone, the information they get if they make an online appointment, right? That's their first interaction with you, or even if they're an established patient, that's their first interaction for their exam this year. It's a what have you done for me lately world that we live in. I listened to a podcast that was talking about how if you have brand loyalty or loyalty where I am only going to drink Coca-Cola, that's awesome. I've committed to just knowing every Sunday when I go to get groceries, I'm buying Coke. I don't drink pop, so that's a horrible thing. Pellegrino? Perrier? I don't know. But whatever it is, we'll use Coke as the example. Every time I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to buy Coke. They've got me. I'm committed. But you know what? Because I'm committed to them, I have a higher level of expectation. If I go and get that Coke and one of the bottles is broken or there's a flat can, I'm kind of questioning that. Am I going to go there and I'm going to try something else? I have a higher level of expectation. So even if they have been to your office for the past 20 years, don't think you're off the hook, that you can just do whatever and patients will keep on coming. They're loyal to you, but they expect you to produce and deliver every single time they show up. So make that first impression count. All right? Last impressions. What happens when they leave your office? Are they going to see you again for 1, 2, or 3 years? If they're not going to see you for 3 years, you better make sure they don't have a bad taste in their mouth when they leave. You know? Tell them all the things that you did, the warranties that are on their lenses. If they have a problem, they can come to you and you'll fix it, right? I don't know what you're doing, but follow-up calls, they can come in for adjustments. When they come in for that adjustment, do you fix the problem? If you make a follow-up call like, hey, we're calling 3 days later just to see if you have any questions with your glasses. Yeah, they keep sliding down my face. I think I picked the wrong frame. Actually, that's something we can adjust. Come on in. Because you made that follow-up call, that last impression isn't, they sold me a crappy pair of frames. It's that, oh, I had a problem. They called me proactively, and they're going to fix it for me, right? That's awesome, right? Last impressions matter. Teamwork. Do you know that everything you do in the office is being watched and observed? Probably don't realize it based on the conversations I hear at other offices have most of the time. Like the front desk are having conversations that aren't inappropriate per se, but is it something that I want everyone to know about? The interactions when a manager asks Sally to make sure that she doesn't forget to do X, Y, or Z. Manager leaves and Sally rolls her eyes, or they have a comment with their coworker about she's at it again, right? That conveys your culture. That conveys an experience like, ooh, some drama there. My staff knows when they are speaking, they have to conduct themselves in such a way that every conversation they have is being heard by the patient. Also, we pride ourselves in trying to work together, having good teamwork and communication, because you know what? Staff or patients see staff working together. When they see that, it's a contagious experience. Like they're helping each other, they're going to help me out. Costco is the best at this. You go in and you have like a bad thing of eggs. The person bagging instantly leaves, goes to give me new eggs, and someone steps up and starts bagging for them. Where do they come from? I don't know, but they're falling out of trees to make sure I get in and out as quick as possible. They bag all my stuff up. Here, sit here, sir. She's going to bring those eggs back up here. I'm just sitting waiting, and here come my eggs. I didn't have to go and do anything. And the patients behind, or the customers behind me, don't have to wait. Like, this guy, like, waiting on his eggs, like, I got to get going and whatnot. It just makes a bad environment for everyone, but they work as a team. Teamwork is contagious. Patients see that. Work together as a team and make sure that if there's issues, you're addressing them behind closed doors, not in front of patients. Okay? Product knowledge, right? This is knowing what you do. We've often said putting your newest, inexperienced person on phones, probably a bad idea. Well, they just have to answer the phone. If they don't know something, they can ask for help. Yes, but sometimes people call and will use a term or phrase and ask if you do that. New person doesn't know that term or phrase and says, no, you've lost that patient for good. Do you know how hard we work to get someone to call our office about dry eye? If my staff, to a T, doesn't know all the things that we do, we're wasting money marketing to those patients, right? Everyone in my office knows what we do at a fundamental level. Some people know a little bit more because they've been there longer, but at a foundational level, they know what's going on. You want patients to have a great experience, want them to get that hospitality, if you will. Knowledge sells. They came in and they were talking to me about stuff about lenses I've never heard of. I've been getting my eyes examined and getting glasses for 30 years, and they explained this to me in such a way that I didn't even know it. It happens when I talk to patients about looking for the toric markers on a contact lens. You know there's a line on there? I always thought my lens was ripped. Or, no way. No one's ever told me that. I've been in these lenses for a decade. And sometimes it takes longer than others for it to get clear. Thank you for telling me that. Experience, right? Be knowledgeable in a way that helps the patient. We could go into a, very in-depth discussion about the retinal nerve fiber layer, about the cranial nerve 5 and how the, trigeminal nerve is sending all these nerve fibers to X, Y, and Z. They don't care about that. But guess what? Because of how your nerves work with the cornea, you can use a nasal spray that will produce more tears. This is how it does it. Whoa, that's awesome. And I hate drops. Here's an option, right? Knowledge makes a difference. They come to you because they think you're an intelligent doctor. You do not have to impress them with fancy things that sound impressive. If you can explain their condition in a way that they understand, you're the best doctor ever. Speak to their level. Knowledge and expertise, you and your staff. A couple other things that I think make the hospitality experience better is empowering your staff. I always say that it's not the fact that a problem happens, it's how you respond to it. Everyone knows and expects problems. They don't expect that free pair of glasses. They don't expect you to already have their lenses on order, right? The little things that you do to handle problems matter. They also love it when, if you're at a restaurant and the waiter will comp you a meal, or they don't have to go to their manager to get things done. Can your staff solve a patient's problem? Something I've heard is, if it's $200 or less, just fix it. Don't bother me. Right? Set your price for whatever you want it to be, but give your staff the power to solve a patient's problem. That makes the experience that much better because you've been in the situation where you explain everything to the customer service person and they're like, you know what? Awesome, we're going to help you, but I need to get my manager in here. Manager, who's more than willing to help, can you tell me what's going on? And you have to do it. And it happens twice, a third time. By the fifth time you get there, I know you're trying to help me, but this is the fifth time I've explained this. Help me now. Right? Give your staff the ability to solve that problem. Your patients will appreciate it. How do you handle being busy? Every single one of our offices is staffed to a capacity that makes us functional. If we're at our max capacity, we're probably going to be understaffed. And if we're a little slow, we're okay, right? If you staff for that busiest time ever that happens for a 2 hour period, you're overstaffed and inefficient. If you staff for the slowest time ever, you're going to make people angry because no one can help them out. Your staff has to be able to know what matters and what doesn't. What are the priorities? I always tell them the patient in front of you is more important than the patient on the phone and the patient that's coming in next week, right? There's a hierarchy. Take care of the people in front of you, but don't forget about that patient that you had on the phone or is coming in next week. Just know that that'll be handled at a slower time. Now, if you're constantly at that DEFCON 1 maxed out position, you need to hire more staff. You need to give them more power to do things or eliminate some of your inefficiencies. That's what I talk to my staff about. I'm like, what are we doing? We're not hiring more people. What's wasting our time? All right, let's cut it. Let's get it out of there. So when we're busy, we don't have to worry about these things, and it made us provide a better patient experience. The things we cut didn't matter anyways. Okay? Last two, aim high. Just being good, just having customer service of a moderate level is expected, right? You look around at all the other service industries out here, it doesn't take a lot to be above your competition. Everyone's struggling to get staff. Just do the little things that you say you're going to do and you'll be better. But aim for a better experience. Shoot for the moon, because if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. The higher you aim, the better your experience will be. So shoot, aim bigger, okay? And the last thing is know who you are. Make sure your patients know who you are. If you go to Ruth's Chris and you're complaining about the kids menu, you picked the wrong restaurant. That's not their fault. If you go to Applebee's and you don't like the cut of the steak, again, that's a you problem. You can do this when you're consistent and you make it known up front what you stand for and what you do. Last week's episode, what's your identity, right? But make sure you know who you are. Make sure they know who you are. You do these things, do one or two of these things, and you'll be better than the rest. But remember, you want to provide hospitality, a great experience for the patient. Unreasonable Hospitality. It's a book I read. I thought it was amazing for perspective on the little things that other people do to give a great experience. It's about restaurants, but you can apply it to your practice. Listen to the book, read the book, do what I talked about in this podcast. You will be better. I'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and today I'm going to leave you with this. This was a game changer for me. I thought this was really awesome, and I'm going to ask that you do this. If you had to give advice to your 20-year-old self and you had 15 to 25 seconds to do it, what would you say? Think about that. You have 15 to 20 seconds, 25 seconds. I thought about this, and I think that I honestly, as I'm saying this to my 20-year-old self, I'm saying it to myself now. A couple of these things aren't applicable, but I think the majority are. And it's, number one, I would tell myself, wait for Ashley. She's going to be worth it. Don't get caught up in that. She's coming. Stop being so insecure. Your insecurity is stopping you from growing. Ask for help sooner. Get people in here that can make you better. And the last thing is aim higher. Take more risk. If I could have done those things in my 20s, I would be so much better off than I am now. And even now, when I'm thinking that I'm better about my insecurity, I still need to punch myself in the face and say, stop being so insecure. Get help. And aim bigger. It's hard. I get it. on a day-to-day thing. I want to grow and expand, but sometimes it's just hard. And at the end of the day, you're tired. I have 4 kids, a wife, and we're busy out of our mind. We're trying to get staff, and you're like, how am I even going to scale? I can't keep one office staffed. It's fine. Aim bigger. Take more risks. You'll be fine. You can recover. Just wish I would have remembered that. I honestly, please send me an email. Leave a message in the comments below. What advice would you give yourself? Put this out there. I want to know. Your colleagues, the people, the fellow listeners want to know. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lilly out.